Do you think that identity and action, should be seen as a holistic entity, in what you're talking about?
Well, I think it's if you think of it as a kind of a connected graph, right? Here's the
Yeah,
agent
yeah.
here. It may have different identities or different permissions, right? It's the identity of the agent, non-human, and in the context of what it can do in different environments, right? On my through my MCP server on my desktop, it can do these things. In the infrastructure background, it can do a lot more things. Maybe it has different guardrails for a user than it might for in a
Right,
production environment. So I'm a systems guy, so everything's connected.
right. Well, let's set roles. Let's set policies around those roles,
Yeah, exactly.
makes sense.
So I don't know if Fernando covered this. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. Maybe he's thinking about it, but love to get his thoughts on it too. So check out Fernando's stuff because he's got some really good content.
Yeah, he's great. And on that note, for my the drop, I would very much like to talk about security. But first, a quick update is last time we were together, we were talking about weekend projects, and mine was to update my aging Intel MacBook Air
Yeah.
with Omarkey, the DHH,
Yeah.
the guy behind Ruby on Rails
Well,
build, which is a sort of Vegemite not distro.
yeah.
I hated it initially, but I've grown to appreciate it quite a bit in that, it's very opinionated out of the box and gets you very quickly to a setup that was built and refined by somebody who, has very similar ideas to my own, except using X, but Twitter, whatever. So I just uninstall that. Anyway, the point is that it didn't work.
I
The
was
zero
wondering,
point,
like, okay, tell us what happened. How's the move?
just it was actually a lot easier than I anticipated to unlock the MacBook. So if any of you have ever tried to unlock like a Google Chromebook, you will know that you have to get a screwdriver out to do that. And I'm
Mhm.
not even kidding.
It is. It
But
is a field trip
it
inside.
is indeed, yes. But it's worth doing because they're great. They're great machines for Linux. Anyway, back to the Intel thing. So it was just a software unlock, and once I got the install going, things seemed to be going well. But then it just refused to take any input. So I couldn't even soft or hard reset or try to step out into the because Arch has a terrific shell for dealing with
Mhm.
problems that you can drop back to, and I couldn't even do that. So story for another day. But that brings me back to what I wanted to talk about quickly, which is security and thinking about the software that we depend upon, and also harkening back to what you and I were chatting about with frontier scale idiocy. Everyone who uses Claude, did you know that right now we're rolling out photo ID requirements within Anthropic? And
Really?
those,
I did that.
not Vegemite. It is controversial, but not like Vegemite.
Is that so that Claude doesn't vote for us or something? Is that what we're still
I really,
have to bring
yeah,
politics into?
it is a subject for a deep dive that would take days to really unpack. But suffice it to say that whether you hate it or appreciate it or approve of it or you're willing to accept it, it's I think important for those of us who build software on top of these systems to recognize that it's never a single vendor you're dealing with. It's a supply chain, and just as we've seen, and Anthropic itself is considered a supply chain risk to the U.S. government, as we've just been talking about. Their own supply chain has risks to it